Department. That was it. Now, these people are, they're like in the middle of it. Kent County is is best described as the epicenter of the coronavirus outbreak. Though not nearly as devastating as the Detroit area, still they are swamped and inundated there at the Kent County Health Department. They're earning their pay, and one of the things that I've been focusing on, with the obvious, of course, being the doing all they can to meet people's needs concerning COVID-19. Many, many people are out of work and cannot afford food anymore. Somehow that's been compromised. Well, I know how that's been compromised, because you can't go get a damn paycheck here. So as we all struggle with, hey, what the hell are we going to do? The Kent County Health Department wants you to reach out to them. They are there about getting set up with WIC. Now, if you started on this road when I first started talking about it, you're like, oh, thank God we did that. If not, get on it right now, okay? Because the last thing you want is your kids to go hungry, okay? 616-632-7200. Got to put these damn readers on. That's the number to call, 616-632-7200, to put you in touch with the folks at the Kent County Health Department so that you can take care of getting all those necessary staples in your home, in your pantry, so that nobody goes hungry. Thank you to the Kent County Health Department for being along on the Eric Zane Show podcast. You're doing great work. Keep at it. I know things are tough right now, but they will get better. Rest assured. Here we go.
And now, here's a guy who has never won a congeniality award at any radio station, anywhere.
I will fight you in the street.
It's the Eric Zane Show Podcast with your host, Eric Zane.
Thank you, John A. Welcome into the Eric Zane Show Podcast. This is a daily show covering news, nonsense, and my personal adventures. Each and every day of the week, you can find us several places live every day on Facebook, brought to you by Irvine's Auto Repair, Grand Rapids Hybrid. On Twitter, the Blue Frost IT Twitter handle at Eric Zane Show. Periscope video there. On YouTube as well, search Eric Zane Show on YouTube. Subscribe and hit the notifications bell. It'll let you know. So it's like pick your poison. If you're like, I hate Facebook, man, well then go to one of the other ones. And if at any point during the podcast, whatever feed you're getting the show live on, the video feed, it starts to crap out, I just go over to the other one. Sometimes it's hit or miss. You know, it's a flat out miracle that we're even doing this for as long as we have been. But so that's the technical side of it, and thank you to the sponsors for making all of those platforms possible. And recorded every day, every word that is said on the live podcast that is seen in those places is then posted to all the podcast platforms that are out there. Just search it out. You can't miss it. Or real easy, go to ericzaneshow.com. You can listen right off the site if you like, or just hit subscribe, and it'll open up a number of the top podcasting platforms, including Apple Podcasts, which is the big one. And as always, subscribe, rate, and review. If every single one of you subscribed, rated, and reviewed today on the audio podcast, the way this stupid algorithm that they have to measure podcasts, it would catapult me to the top 50. What it does is, and I've seen it work. I've read articles about how people game the system on Apple Podcasts. There are shows that I know of, like people that I actually know, who spend a good portion of each and every day creating fake email addresses to make fake Apple accounts or iTunes accounts, and then rate their own show. And shows that I know that don't have a very modest audience go way sky high in the ratings. And what they then do in the rankings of Apple Podcasts is they then go and sell that trumped up number. And I actually have experimented with this myself, and I did that. I actually I'm going to see if this works, because I read the article about gaming the system, how to do this, and I actually did this same exact thing, and got it to respond. I'm like, holy shit, is this it? Is this all you have to do to game the system? And it's true. You do. That's one of the they haven't figured out how to fucking make it so you can't do that. But and then I went, well, this took way too much time of my day, and I don't give a shit. So fuck it. I'm not even going to deal with this. But that is an absolutely true thing. Ridiculous. So if it happens, and you can actually, you know what you can do? You can go online and buy reviews. You can pay a company X amount of dollars. It's pretty cheap, actually. I've looked into it, and just to see if this was a thing. And I haven't done it. You know, I'd tell you. And what they do is you pay a certain amount, and they will give you reviews. And so it does exactly what I just said, which is just remarkable that you can pull this shit off. I think you can do this with Twitter followers and Facebook followers, too. But no, I'm like, I don't even care. I mean, if it happens, it happens. But I don't have the energy to cheat like that. It's like if I'm spending my time cheating like that and I'm not working on my hell, it takes me 8 hours a day, every day, to do what I do. And the way it goes is prepare for one podcast, do a podcast, post podcast, get a cup of coffee, get something to eat, prepare for second podcast, do second podcast, post second podcast, post things for later in the day, scheduled tweets, scheduled posts, sponsorship mentions on the social media. These are all things that take me to now about 1:30, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Yesterday was a little longer because fucking Dale and Jeff on Smarter Than a Former Drug Dealer Trivia, those fuck sticks couldn't get anything right. Wait till you hear that on Patreon. Oh, my God. I love you guys, but that was fucking painful. I'm normally good at trivia. Uh-huh. I might have to make the questions easier. Oh, my God. What an abortion that was. Oh, yeah. Bad news. So that's basically how it works on my... I have barely any time after... And then I have to put it all away. I have now gotten to a point in the podcast where I'm like, okay, I am stopping. I am not going to do another thing for this podcast today. I'm not going to make a phone call. I'm done. I'm going to go do my old school chores around the house, which yesterday, that was it, man. This is how it is now as COVID-19, as we have this reality currently, temporarily, I do believe that, and it will be. It is temporary. But if you're like me, man, you are just killing it. You're killing it on the chores. Yesterday was bust out the leaf blower day. You know, I mean, all those leaves that have accumulated that you missed the first time around, which for me, I never picked them up in the first place. So from the fall, so I'm these huge piles of leaves that I have to get rid of. And then, you know, while I'm doing that, I notice that, and I'm in this area where the dogs are, and the dogs won't leave this one area. And you know what? They found a bunny. This dead-ass bunny is on the ground. I'm like, oh, shit, man. And it hadn't been that long. It looked like he wasn't like, it was a recent death. I don't know what happened to this freaking bunny, but it was a huge-ass bunny. And I'm like, oh, God. And Bruce wants to roll in the fucking bunny. And I'm like, get the fuck out of here. And Bruce is so strong, I can't even get him. And so he's pulling me around, and he wants to roll in the bunny. And O'Neill is kind of freaked out by the bunny. While that's going on, I finally get Bruce away from dead bunny. Now O'Neill has vanished. O'Neill is in a showdown with a garter snake. And this little snake is, he's in a corner, and he has He has gotten into his attack pose. Now, this snake is not going to do any damage to O'Neill, but O'Neill doesn't know what to think with this snake, and he's kind of looking at it, and he's, doing one of these. He's like moving his head up to it, and then the snake kind of does this. I mean, it's adorable. This little shit snake. It's a baby garter snake. Acts like he's going to strike, and he can't. I don't even think those things have teeth. And, his mouth opens up to basically, it looks like the opening of a dick. It's so small. And I'm like, O'Neill, leave the fucking snake alone. There's snakes all over the yard. Get him out of there. And then Diana hears that there's a snake, and that hillbilly decides she wants to pick up the snake. So I'm like, come on, man. Leave him alone. He's scared to death. The last thing he needs is you picking him up. So thank God the snake gets away. It was all stupid. This is my life now. This is what it did not leave the property, and that is so important at this stage of the game. They're like suggesting, look, don't even leave the house, man. Don't keep it buttoned down. I read that the guy who runs the CDC, don't know this dude. There's a few talking heads that have been speaking out. This Dr. Fauci. More on him. He said something that was interesting earlier he said something yesterday that was interesting. But this dude now is saying, the CDC guy is saying the social distancing, if we continue to be vigilant, we will not see that number of dead people that had been thrown out. Remember the 100 to 250,000 or 240,000 that was thrown out? If we continue to be badasses about sticking to our homes, that won't happen. So fingers crossed. You're all doing a great job. Keep it up. Some of you have to go to work. Of course you go to work if you have to. And but keep thinking, keep constantly vigilant about not touching your face and keeping your hands clean. You're doing great. You're doing great. Then come on home to your family. Keep yourself clean. Keep doing all the things you've been doing great. And they also said that it's very important that you wear some type of mask now. The key is that if you are infected, some of you may never even know it, but you can be absolutely spreading those germs. So I would suggest doing that. It's remarkable, and I'm going to talk about this a little later on in the podcast, the falling in line with the idea, the world, and the whole business about doing all we can to make sure that we're safe. I at one point was not in that camp. If you were to listen back to old podcasts, I remember being like, hey, I'm worried about this. No, I'm not worried. It's all hype. Yeah, hey, I'm worried about this. No, I'm not worried. Fuck that. This is stupid. I remember going back and forth, and then I remember the day that I'm like, I'm not going to die alone on this hill. We need to be I need to be lockstep with what the general message is, and I'm not going to be one of those dumb shits spreading misinformation. I'm abandoning ship on that right now, and I am in lockstep with you. Now, if you are still in the thought process that, this is all hype, this is media, this is bullshit, all right, I'm not going to try to convince you, but just stay home. Just nobody wants you out. Well, anyway, not only because it's unhealthy, but nobody wants to talk to you anyway. So I don't give a shit if you feel that way. Just make sure no one talks to you. In fact, when this all settles, the dust settles, don't talk to anybody ever again because nobody wants to talk to you. Last night, as I was tromping around the residence, I noticed that my neighbor still had a Christmas tree laying in the backyard. Now, I've been having a fire like every night, and I'm kind of running out of viable firewood. I have a ton of firewood, but it's not like dry, nor is it split. So I'm like, fuck, what am I going to burn tonight, man? I just love having a fire. I don't know about you, man, but when I light that thing up, and I don't sit, as you know, that is not part of my game with the ADHD. I have to be gathering sticks to put on the fire. I am walking around. I'm picking shit up off the ground. I'm throwing it away. Hell, the other day I was picking up some of that straw grass or hay grass that almost burnt down the neighborhood a couple years ago, and putting that on there in little bits. Believe me, it's not going to be a big amount like last time. That stuff lights faster than lighter fluid. Not gas, but lighter fluid. If you were to put lighter fluid on and light it, it kind of slowly builds and then takes off. The hay grass or straw grass lights faster than that. Isn't that incredible? It's like lighting hair on fire. I was picking that shit up, and I picked up a turd. I was like, oh, my God. So, yeah, I'm walking around constantly and throwing stuff on the fire. That's like how I do it, you know? That's why. And people are like, why don't you sit down and enjoy the fire? I was like, no way, man. Sit? Yeah, right. Me? The most hyper person on the planet? Shut up. Mind your business. I noticed my neighbor has this Christmas tree. This is my neighbor, Matt. And his kid, Jake, is out there going, hey, man, you mind if I take that Christmas tree? He goes, no. I go, yeah, I want to burn it. You mind if I burn your Christmas tree? I go, where are you going to? He goes, well, yeah, no, you can take it. That would save us the work. We were just going to get rid of it ourselves. I go, no, I'll take it. He goes, are you sure I can help you cut it up? I go, no. So I'm walking across the backyard with Matt's Christmas tree. Everybody thinks I'm a lunatic in this whole subdivision. Everybody. From picking fights with that asshole with the mail order bride on the next street, to the 4 dogs, to, you know, everything else that's going to a lot of them watch this podcast, watching it right now or later on in the day or listening to it. They're like, oh, we heard you talking about that jerk down the street. Yeah, I'm going to fight that guy. To all of this shit, walking through, I'm like, I got this Christmas tree. And now dead Christmas trees they're more explosive than gas. Oh my God. And you know, but I learned my lesson long ago. You can't just throw it on and light it up because it'll be a huge flame. I mean, like big time. And I don't want that. Knowing my luck, a gust of wind will come in and somehow catch the house on fire. But that was my night, man. Sitting there talking to my dad for half an hour, burning stuff by the fire. Oh, so much fun. Drinking Bush N.A. So that was it. I had a long talk with Dad. It was good. Dad, tomorrow on Dear Meathead. He wants to hear from you. He loves hearing from you. He loves the questions. If you could, send them along. Eric at EricZaneShow.com. Put in the subject line, Meathead or Dear Meathead, and that would be great. Any question, the simpler, the better. If you look at it and it's a ton of words, you know, that's fine. I can pare it down, but I like it better if it's just a simple question. And no need to try to do the inside jokes with him that like we've done in the past. I've said this before, it kind of makes me feel bad because he's not in on it. So just ask him a legit question that you maybe have bouncing around your brain for Dear Meathead. Coming up tomorrow live when we do the live Fear Bunker version of the Eric Zane Show podcast. Okay. Email the show, Eric at EricZaneShow.com. I want to hear what you have to say about what I'm talking about now. If I've said something that makes you like, hey, I gotta reach out to Zane, see what he has to, see if I can contribute to the conversation, you're more than welcome to do that. I just looked at it a moment ago, and if you have anything at all you want to say, reach out, Eric at EricZaneShow.com. That's the only way I can correspond with you during the live video element of the Eric Zane Show podcast. Stand by. I had to clear the airways. All right. We are close to getting the camper in possession of one of the fine medical professionals at one of our area hospitals. I was going about it in one particular way with dealing with some folks at the hospital that my daughter works at. But I'm thinking that the other way that we had mentioned on the show, RVs for MDs, is the way to go. that Facebook group out of Texas, I had joined that, and what it does is it pairs you up with people in your area who have a need. Well, unbeknownst to me, Diana did the same thing. And she goes, hey, there's I think it was a intensive care nurse in one of the communities where I live that needs it because this person is worried about, well, that's the point of this. You put the camper or the RV or the full pop-up camper, doesn't matter what it is, as long as it's a place for them to stay, in like the driveway of the person's residence. They come home, and since there's a chance that they could be infected because they're working with sick patients who have it, I mean, it makes sense for them to go into a place like that inside of the camper so they don't get their family sick. And this particular person had the other members of the family had some underlying health issues, so this is a huge risk. So this person was like, oh, my God, so much anxiety when I come home and all I want to do is relax, and I can't because I'm afraid I'm getting my family sick. So, so Diana was like, well, we're all about it, let us come and drop it off, and we'll take care of everything. So that's the point of RVs for MDs, the Facebook group. If you've got an RV, you're not going to use it, all right? If you could donate its usage to any one of the medical professionals at any of the area that are supporting all of the area hospitals in and around the area, or anywhere in your neck of the woods, wherever you're listening, this is a nationwide thing. Do it, man. It's really, really helpful for them, and that's the least we could do, I mean, these people putting themselves in harm's way day after day trying to fight the illness. So the least that could happen for them, hopefully, would be to be able to go home and just relax. A couple of things. I don't like to park on too much doom and gloom as to what is going on with it because, we're all doing that. When you're not listening to this podcast, you've kind of got one ear to the ground about all this shit. So for me to sit here and alone every day, sit here and just say, all right, this is what's up, I'm that's not really equipped for that. And I think that group settings discussing Corona kind of leads you down to a abyss of negativity and a little bit of grandstanding. I've actually heard it happen with so much of the shit that's going on today. I am hearing more and more on the radio and in published reports, a lot of this hindsight being what it is, and then taking it a step further with finger pointing. And fuck off. Nobody knew what to expect. This is not something that you can prepare for. And if you are prepared for it, well, congratulations. But no one, yes, I guess you could have prepared for it. But to sit there and blame people because they didn't prepare for it is a complete waste of energy and time. And it doesn't help anything. We're in a shitstorm right now. I'll tell you this, that in the future, I don't think we'll be caught flat-footed again. And that's how it usually goes in most settings. Whether it's living your life personally, you're not going to let that happen again. How often have you said that? So I am sick and tired of people looking back to things that have been said, or this person's not prepared, or this is so-and-so's fault. Fuck off. Shut the fuck up. I am so sick and tired of people, talking heads, gathering around a room where they should be separate in the first place and acting completely high and mighty and pointing fingers and saying, this is what you should have done. This is bullshit. This is your fault. Shut up. For God's sake. I was having a discussion with my wife yesterday, and she goes, how long do you think this is going to last? And what I said to her was, well, I think that we'll be able to soften this and spread it out over a long time. But until there is a vaccine, I don't think it's ever going to completely go away. And I think that the way we do things, shaking hands, being in close proximity with each other, I think that will eventually come back, but it's going to take a long time. And I don't think that it will be 100% back the way it was until an actual vaccine is found, mass-produced, given to the public and you see it eradicated. That will happen, but let's be honest, that's going to take some time. So I said to her, I don't think that's I don't think it's going to go away completely until we get to that point. And then lo and behold, sure as shit, that Dr. Fauci, I really like that guy. He said nearly the exact same thing. I read it an hour or two later. I was like, holy fuck, that's exactly what I was just talking about. Holy shit. Some good news. Italy and Spain are absolutely flattening. The U.S., it's too early to tell, but there was some positive things out of New York, I think it was. But it's still in the early stages of this. You might continue to see some real spikes before we actually get officially where it's starting to be squashed down. And that lines up with the time frame of these other countries like Italy and Spain, which still have horrible days with hundreds of people dying every day and thousands of infections. But if you you probably look at the same thing I look. You look at that chart, and like yesterday, one of those two countries had an infection level similar to like way back in mid-March, which is significantly less than what we had seen with those horrible days. Thus, all the extreme amount of death and horrible things in the U.S. alone, you're seeing 1,000 or more die a day, and this is really staggering. So again, all we can do right now is just lay low and stay put. Eric at EricZaneShow.com is the email, as you know. Dean writes, where are the dogs? He loves my puppies. Well, yeah, didn't make arrangements for it. I'm on a roll, so I'll just keep it going. Something to look forward to. Something to look forward to, indeed. The open of the Eric Zane Show podcast, which was a little pissed off. Did you hear that? I was actually getting a little wound up there. Brought to you by Blue Frost IT, the managed IT service provider for the show, serving all of West Michigan and beyond. They can work remotely anywhere you are. Now, if you own a business, small or medium-sized business, and your employees are working at home and their computer setup is not working the way it needs to, call upon Blue Frost IT. You can get an hourly quick fix rate, okay? That is much cheaper than it was prior to coronavirus. That would have cost you a certain amount before all the shit hit the fan. It's a lot less now for you to get that service, okay? Blue Frost IT at 616-200-8550. Again, they can work remotely so that you don't have to worry about somebody coming through your home, whatever it takes. 616-200-8550. You want to carry a pistol around. Let's say you've been wanted to do that for a long time and you don't know where to begin. Where to begin is Prince Arming. Retired U.S. Army Major Steve Prince is going to teach you what you need to know after the dust settles on COVID-19. Steve, you should consider an online thing. Maybe that would be something you could do. And when you do take the course, it's going to set you back $125, and that one-day course is going to be all you need. You'll get your certification there that you did pass the class with flying colors, and then you go to your county and you sign up to get your pistol permit. If you're in the great state of Michigan, that's how you do it. Hey, Steve, if you can do this online, we can have listeners all over the United States do it. If you want more information about Prince Arming, go to my website, ericzaneshow.com, click on the Prince Arming logo, and you are in business. And last, but certainly not least, the good folks at Riverbend Body Shop. Online at riverbendbodyshop.com, serving the community that I live in for, going on 70 years now. They are open for business and ready to serve you. They will remain as open as they have been deemed essential. Their business hours remain the same, 7:30 to 5:30, continuing to monitor the guidelines and have implemented many safety features for customers and employees. If you have damage and do not want to stop by, they are happy to come to you to inspect the vehicle. Or you can text pictures, get this, including the VIN number, to 616-319-4830. How about that? That is great. 616-319-4830. So just walk around the car, take the pictures, include the VIN number, text it along to 616-319-4830, and you're in business, okay? More information, you can call them at 616-453-7795. All this information is available on their website, riverbendbodyshop.com. Thank you to them for being on board with the Eric Zane Show podcast. All right. I have a very nice person who's going to join me on the small business shout-out here right now. And then after that, I got to go over the passing of Detroit Tiger legend Al Kaline. Oh, my God. This is one of the sweetest people that had ever walked God's green earth. 85 years young. Al passed away yesterday. This guy lived a great life. There is not a person in the world who had a bad experience talking to Al Kaline. I had the pleasure of meeting him and George Kell, the legendary Detroit Tiger broadcast team, when I was a very, very young boy. When Kaline was like, it's hard to believe when I met him, I was like 40, or he was like 47 years old, which is like a couple of years younger than what I am now. I can't believe that's I'm like, all these things are colliding in my head. Because back then when I met him, he seemed like he was like 90 years old because I was so young. But Kaline passed away yesterday, one of the greats of all time. And I've got some interesting things that I gleaned off of doing some research about Kaline. I want to get to that in a little bit. But first, the small business shout-out is what I've been doing for the last few weeks, getting a hold of various small businesses as they try to pick up the pieces from all the trouble caused.
Hello.
Hi, is this Kelly? How are you?
Good. How are you?
Oh, fantastic. Kelly Van Eerden, which is you are part of Living with Magic Vacations, yes?
Yep, Living with the Magic, yes.
Living with the Magic Vacations, right?
Yep.
All right, I got it. Okay, now, Kelly, I saw that you had been on board on the Facebook post about the small business shout-out. Did someone tell you about it, or how did you discover it?
I think it was posted in one of the neighborhood sites, for small businesses.
Okay, so you're not really sure of what you're getting into here, then, right? This is a new thing for you.
It is, yes.
Okay, well, rest assured, I'll keep it above board. But you might run into you might run into somebody who says that guy's crazy at some point. So I just wanted you to know that going in.
All right, sounds good.
Where do you work out of, Kelly?
I work out of my house in Jenison.
Oh my God! Well, that's not far at all from here. Can you take us through what exactly goes on with your small business that has been waylaid by COVID-19?
So I plan vacations, which obviously a lot of them are being postponed right now. I'm getting some business for the fall, just people wanting to have something to look forward to. And so we're, just trying to keep positive and plan for the future and give us all something to look forward to once we get on the other end of this.
Okay, so it basically, as soon as things started to get a little gloomy here in the U.S., things started to fall apart in the planning of travel.
Yeah, yep. We have had a lot of cancellations, but we're also trying to get people to postpone, for later dates so that they can still go on the vacations.
Okay. What type of vacations do you most typically plan, Kelly?
I specialize in Disney, so I do a lot of Disney Cruise Line, Disney World, Disneyland.
Yeah, okay. So people like maybe like a family setting, hey, we want to do this, and they just tell you, and then you just do your thing, huh?
Yep. I have a few that I've had started planning since this all started, but not, a ton, but we're trying to have people look forward to the future now.
So basically the service you provide is all of the time and energy to actually plan a vacation is what just some people want to avoid that. So they call upon you to do it. And then you, with your experience, can make sure that everything goes smoothly. Isn't that right?
Yep. And I'm here for any problems that arise and, any questions they have. They're able to call me rather than a big company, like Disney, where they might be on the phone for a while. So.
Okay. Yeah, so they call you. It's not like they're getting like thrown into voicemail. It's really easy to get a hold of you when they want to talk to you.
Yep.
Okay. So if I just had them call the number that I called, that would work. 616-644-4551. Is that right?
Yep, that's my personal cell phone. So.
Okay. Living with the Magic Vacation, 616-644-4551. Do you have like an online presence that you'd like to talk about?
Yep, I'm on Facebook and Instagram with the Kelly Plans Magic is what you search up, and it will come up to my Facebook and my Instagram page. And then our website is called livingwiththemagic.com.
All right. I love it. Kelly, I appreciate you. I want to wish you luck, and hopefully we'll get through this. You'll be back to doing what you love, okay?
Thanks so much. Have a great day.
Okay, Kelly. Best. Take care. Kelly Van Eerden, Living with the Magic Vacations. Very nice lady. And if that's something you're thinking about doing, do consider her. That is why we do the Eric Zane Show Podcast Small Business Shout Out. And go ahead and add to that list. I reposted it to the top of my Facebook page. That's the easiest way to do this. In fact, if you've I had said to you before, send me an email too. That was a bad idea because I get 100 emails every day. And if I have to, oh God, scrolling through emails is torture. If you've sent me an email, would you please resend it to me? But I take it back. Don't send it to the email. Just add it to the comments of the Facebook post. But I take it back. I know I'm being stupid here. If you do happen to resend the email, put in the subject line, small business shout out. Okay, that's what we'll do. You can put it in the comments. You can resend the email, but it would have to say in the subject line, small business shout out, because then I can filter it, and then I can search it out. Otherwise, it's like terrible. I'm like, oh God, my eyes already failing badly. I can't even see these days. So that is how we'll do it. Okay, so some of you old timers, and I got a few like me who remember Al Kaline. Now I don't remember Kaline playing. He had retired when I was very young, like 4 or 5 years old. But I remember Al and George. My God. What a broadcast team. Now, you got 2 Hall of Fame baseball players. And George Cal with that sweet Southern accent. And then Al Kaline with hey, George. Well, George. And as the Detroit Tigers did their thing. And they had some rough years there when Kaline and Cal were in the booth until the Tigers finally started to put it together. And then when Sparky came on, shit, yeah, Detroit winning that World Series in 1984. I will never forget that. Marching out onto the main drag where I live, 13 Mile Road, holding a sign, 14-year-old Eric celebrating. All I wanted to do that summer was watch the Tigers, 14 years old, and masturbate. First inning, George and Al, go to the bathroom, beat my meat, go watch a couple innings, recharge, beat my meat some more. Go watch 5th and 6th innings. Jacket in the bathroom. Head back. God forbid if there was extra innings. That's all I did for an entire summer was beat off and watch the Tigers. It was great, man. At that point, I had discovered myself. I'll never forget. And now I don't think I ever beat off while watching the Tigers. Now that would be really weird. Oh, really, a Lopez? Yeah. Oh, my God. Oh, holy shit, Kirk Gibson. Whoa. But Kaline passed away at 85 years old. By the way, when I started this show, I had no intention of merging Al Kaline and my masturbation skills when I was 14 years old. Never did I think that, but here I am doing it. All right. So all I did was I kind of gleaned over Kaline's Wikipedia, and I anything I didn't know or was or that I wasn't aware of, I just kind of brought it. I'm bringing it here to you now. It's key things. First of all, dude born in Baltimore, Maryland, who was poor as shit, and but he could play baseball. When he was young, at like 8 years old, he had some weirdo foot disease. It was known as osteomyelitis. and he had a segment of bone removed from his left foot, and that surgery left scarring and the foot permanently deformed, and that would come back later in his career. So, here he is. He's a young guy growing up. He's got this weirdo foot, and he's all self-conscious of it, but still, he was great. He could run like the wind, a terrific fielding right fielder. And when if you had to tag up on Al Kaline, there was a good chance you were going to get gunned down. A terrific arm and a hell of a hitter. I think he had his batting average was just below 300, which some people said that was the only knock on Al Kaline. But he was a first ballot Hall of Famer, and that's not much of a knock. Everything else was spectacular, and just an all around awesome dude. Everybody loved Al Kaline. When he was 17, he's finishing up high school, okay? And then as the senior year was going on, the Tigers said, we're going to draft you. So that's it. Now, this is in 1952. And so he's 17 years old, and he signed a $35,000 contract when he was 17 in 1952. That's a ton of money. That works out to about $334,000 in today's. Can you imagine that, being that young, 17 years old? My God. And then he made his debut in June of 1953. He had just turned 18 years old, and he got into the game. And then at age 20, he was tearing the league to shreds. He won the batting title at age 20. Can you imagine that? The dude hit .340 against major league pitching, And that was at a time when you didn't even wear a batting helmet when you were up to bat. It was different. If you even looked at the pitcher cross-eyed, he's going to put one right in your ear, and then you're like mentally impaired for the rest of your life. So he wins the American League batting title. It was no 20-year-old major leaguer had won a batting title since Ty Cobb in 1907. During the 1955 season, Kaline, the 13th dude, get this, 13th guy ever, and I can't believe there had been 12 guys before him who did this. In one game, he hit 2 home runs in an inning. Early on in the inning, he hit a home run, and then later on in the inning, he hit a home run. And then he also became the youngest guy to hit 3 home runs in one game. All sorts of accolades, terrific player. He had a long string of being selected to the All-Star game. But that isn't the big thing I wanted to focus on here. Remember that foot injury he had that when he was a kid that operated on? They talk about how he had constantly been in pain. And he saw an orthopedic surgeon who prescribed corrective shoes. And that's all it took. Kaline said, I feel so much better than I did before. This is ridiculous. He said this is 10 years after his major league debut. A sports writer described the deformity of his foot, which had gotten worse. Okay, listen to this. See if you can picture this. In his left foot, the pinky toe and the middle toe didn't touch the ground. So it's like this, if you can picture that. Okay, the pinky toe and the middle toe don't touch the ground. The fourth toe is stretched. The second and the third toe are shortened. The first and third toes overlap the second toe. I don't know if that's under. It's got to be under it if the second toe doesn't even touch the ground. So his fucking toe is bent up like, a freaking stretchy doll. Don't know what that is. Stretch Armstrong. Bad reference. Terrible joke. Okay. Overlap it says the first and third toes overlap the second toe, and the fourth toe overlaps the big toe, which has begun to bend to the left. This guy wrote, it's hard to believe, but for all of his career with the Tigers, while he was being called the perfect player, Kaline has bordered on being a cripple. This fact, that credit to the character of Al Kaline, who just died. After hitting .294 in 1971, K-Line became the first Tiger to sign a $100,000 contract, which is $631,000 in today's dollars. Which, you know, if you think about it, $631,000 Major League dollars isn't much, you think about, for a superstar. A superstar nowadays is paid multi-millions of dollars. But baseball didn't pay as well as it does now. But get this. K-Line had turned down a pay raise from $95,000 to $100,000 the previous year because he felt like he didn't deserve it, because in that year he only hit .278 with 21 home runs in 1970. Can you imagine that? Well, first of all, just a $5,000 raise. No, I don't. That's big money. I don't deserve that. And it's not that much money, but I guess that's comparing it to today's dollars, so that's weird. But to say, I don't deserve it, keep your money, is, I mean, who would do that? Al K-Line would. All right, and finally this. There was an incident in 1970 where he would have been the very first baseball player to die on the field. No baseball player has ever died on the field. No one before 1970 and no one after 1970. One of the other outfielders, there's three outfielders, Al K-Line, Jim Northrup, and Willie Horton, okay? And if it wasn't for Willie Horton, Al would have been dead right there on the field. There was an incident in Milwaukee's County Stadium a month before I was born, May of 1970, with the bases loaded and the score tied at 2. The Brewers infielder Roberto Pena hit one out to the outfielder, and Northrup and K-Line collided. The ball goes flying. Pena rounds the bases. It was the first ever inside the park grand slam because these two guys collide. Right away, K-Line's not moving. What happened to Al? It turns out they look at him and he's turning blue. The impact caused him to swallow his tongue. Have you ever heard about someone doing that? Which sounds like the most absurd thing ever. Swallowing your tongue. How does that even happen? Isn't that little thing on the bottom designed to make it so that that doesn't happen? You really got to do a number on it to swallow it. You ever know anybody who swallows their tongue? That's fucked up. We grew up in a neighborhood that a kid swallow his tongue, and we'd have to scream for his dad, who'd come out and have to fucking jam his finger in there and pull his tongue out of his throat. Really screwed up. I remember seeing it once. But K-Line swallowed his tongue, and he's dying on the field. They're like, oh, shit, Al's dying. Oh, my God. The Brewers bullpen coach raced over and said, I could hear him gasping for air. He was turning blue and choking. I realized what had happened. I tried to pry open his jaw, but the best I could do was get 2 fingers between his teeth. According to this article from VintageDetroit.com, racing over from left field, Horton shoves everyone aside and with his brute strength pries open K-Line's clenched jaw and buried his finger down K-Line's throat and pulled out his tongue. The article goes on to say Horton's heroics didn't occur before K-Line's jaw clenched down and bit the shit out of his hand, which Willie still has to this day. K-Line took 2 deep breaths, opened his eyes, not realizing what had happened before being taken to an area hospital where he stayed there overnight. Man, quote, I remembered that when a guy gets knocked out, you grab him by the back of the jaw with your fingers to pop it open, Horton said later when he received an award from the Michigan Heart Association, who told Willie that he had very likely saved K-Line's life. K-Line missed just a game from the injury. 3 months later, the man teammates called 6 continued to count his blessings as he was able to enjoy Al K-Line Day at Tiger Stadium with his family. Incredible story. The 2 men forever linked for many reasons, although none can be more important than what happened on that day in Milwaukee that long ago. Damn it, I did not know that story. Fantastic. That Al, both these guys have gone to live long lives. Rest in peace to Mr. Tiger, Al freaking Kaline, dead at 85. All right. I kind of went on a rant earlier bitching about people doing their hindsight is 2020 high and mighty horse shit act about Corona. That is holding true with Dr. Drew as well. He stepped in it big time. He died alone on the hill. And now everybody's turning on him, and I think that's horse shit. I'll get to that coming up in just a bit. As you know, a number of sponsors have made this show possible. 2 things, the audience. 3 things, God, the audience, and the sponsors. The Mario Flores Lakeshore team of Van Dyke Mortgage. Mario's going to get you into a mortgage, man. 231-332-6505. First of all, you can get a lower rate. Then if you already have a mortgage, get a lower rate. You're going to pay less. And why don't you take a few thousand out just for kicks? Maybe go on a trip. Maybe improve the house. Maybe you're without a paycheck right now. Go ahead, do that. Everybody does that. You're still paying less a month because you're going to get a better rate. That's how that works. Call Mario for the details. Just call him and say hi. You don't even need, there's no obligation or anything like that. Just say, hey, yeah, can you run some numbers for me? He does that shit all the time. 231-332-6505. That's his desk number. Call Mario, the Mario Flores Lakeshore team of Van Dyke Mortgage. This is not a broker. They've got the money. They're the company. All right? Thank you to them. When the dust settles, I want you to hire Amy Porter to clean your home. Hold on. I got to put my glasses on. 616-550-3644. 616-550-3644 for A&D Cleaning. Big jobs, small jobs, weekly schedule, monthly, a la carte, one-time visit. Do it as a present for the lady or the guy. Doesn't matter. 616-550-3644. And remember, I talked to you about getting the mortgage from Mario. Henry Steffes is going to find you the house. You get the mortgage before you look for the house. TheSteffesGroup.com is their website. Reach out to Henry today. And not only is he going to be able to sell your home, but he's got a number of listings on his website. And if you see another home listed, when the time is right, you're going to bang on his door and say, hey, I love this home. It's not one of yours, but what do you say? He takes care of all that, okay? We have you covered for all of these big decisions on the Eric Zane Show podcast. Thank you to the Steffes Group of Keller Williams Realty, one of my first sponsors on this rendition of the Eric Zane Show podcast. TheSteffesGroup.com, STEFFES Group.com, TheSteffesGroup.com. Thank you so much to Henry and his crew. Okay, so, as we've sat here and been in the same boat dealing with coronavirus, as it worked its way across Asia, and we heard the stories, some of us were like, maybe, boy, I don't know. And you hear those old discussions about, well, the flu kills more. All those comments that haven't aged well at all. I think a lot of us did that. I'll be the first one to tell you I was wavering a long time ago. Well, not that long ago. It seems like a long time ago about this with, it's nothing. It's something. It's nothing. It's something. And I honestly, man, I don't fault anybody for feeling that way. But I think that whether it's late or not late, if you were on board early, it doesn't matter. That does not matter at all. The only thing that matters is right now you don't get sick and you don't get anybody else sick. And if you're staying home, that means you're in the right spot. For right now, that's absolutely appropriate. So I don't give a shit if Dr. Drew is late to the party. He is. He was one of the people on the hill dying a lonely death. About this is not a big deal, and he was spreading misinformation. Dr. Drew is not he's an advice doctor. He's a relationship doctor, Okay, he's not a medical doctor. He's not an epidemiologist. But when I was in that stubborn mode of, this isn't going to affect us, I was turning to him. I was with him, man. I was like, see. Well, that doesn't mean shit. I mean, it's like he has the same credentials as fucking me, basically. So it was all folly and stupid. But who cares, right? Dr. Drew has turned it around finally and has apologized for all of the nonsense that he caused by saying, hey, this is not a big deal. But now everybody is really hammering the guy, and I don't know. I honestly, anybody that does this and then says, hey, I was wrong, I don't fault anybody for that. Of course, no one would want this to be true. I think if you're still a person that is still hanging on to the nonsense that, using those stupid, tired arguments about the flu kills more people and this is all hype for political reasons, well, you're an asshole. That I do believe. You got to stop being an asshole. Dr. Drew was an asshole for a long time, and then he stopped being an asshole. I was an asshole for not nearly as long, but then I realized, hey, this is legit. You just cannot be spreading false information. This is one of the single biggest challenges, if not the biggest challenge that has ever faced the country. It's right up there with 9/11, the war on terror, world wars. It is right up there with Spanish flu. Kind of. Spanish flu killed 50 to 100 million people worldwide. But it still has that vibe of an enormous moment for humanity, for the world. And as long as we keep doing what you've been hearing and practicing good things, it will fade. Okay, it'll just take time. That's it. And it will be uncomfortable, but you'll live. You'll live. So that's it. That's where I stand on that. And I can only worry about me, and you can only worry about you. But Drew was hanging on to that for a long-ass time. There's an article this article hates Drew and Pinsky, and even there was a compilation of all the inaccurate, contradictory things that Dr. Drew had said, and it was posted, and Dr. Drew filed a copyright claim on YouTube saying, all right, enough of this shit. I look like an asshole. This was after he apologized. So that's a little douchey, but he didn't like it, so whatever. But it's still available. YouTube ended up saying, no, it's not affecting any copyright things, so everybody have at it. So he's taking it on the chin. It'll fade for the guy. But I get a little bit pissed off when I see people doing what I do in any medium, radio, TV, podcasting, writing, and pointing the mad finger on a high horse because somebody didn't believe what most people believed. That doesn't do anything at all. It's just stupid. And you were probably doing the same thing at one point, too. I see a lot of people that are going out of their way to point out what Bush said in 2005 when he said we're not ready for a pandemic. We gotta turn it around fast. Well, we weren't. Okay? We weren't. How is that helping us right now? It's not. So shut up. All it does is undermines the efforts by people who are working hard, makes them feel bad, does horrible things to the morale of the community and society as a whole. Shut up. Let's see. This article goes on to say, Drew, of course, not an expert on infectious diseases, didn't stop him from being widely dismissive. So this is what I'm talking about. I don't want to read any more of it. This article is doing exactly what I was saying that everybody is doing, sitting around pointing fingers about everybody saying what they said in the past. He finally did turn it around. And he did say, all right, I was wrong. I'm sorry I did that. And going forward, it's important that we are all on the same page. And that's it. To go back after something as strange as this is, and to just pick apart, nitpick little horseshit things like this said by this guy. And, 20 years ago, this guy said this. So, that means that everything that's happened is this person's fault and this person's fault. If we did everything like that in the world, with hindsight being what it is, we wouldn't be in any spot that we're in right now. The important thing is to now learn from this and practice what we've learned and put it into practice so that this doesn't happen again. We hadn't dealt with anything like that. So just, yeah, so what? Some guy was right about it. Doesn't help anything. Shut up. Wasted breath. Dana White is a moron. You remember this guy? He's the one who said it is un-American to hide from coronavirus. He said we need to get out into the world like nothing happened. And he even said, come get me. He actually is doing an Eric Zane, I want to fight coronavirus in the street. This happened in, I don't know, about March 25th is when the article came out. He compared coronavirus to cancer. It was so dumb. He's been upset because, basically he can't do what he does, and that is put on fights because people can't gather. And, we don't want anybody else getting sick. We don't want people dying. He has been talking about different options and things like that. Dana White says health and safety isn't said. He said it isn't something. Health and safety isn't something that just popped up on our radar with the coronavirus. White said it's something we deal with every week for the last 20 years. He said he's not some crazy rebel. He has adhered to what the U.S. government has said to do, but is skeptical about sharing his plans with the media. The less the media knows, the better. A lot of this hysteria in this stuff that's been going on has been driven by the media. The less the media knows, the better off it is. See, that's what I'm talking about. That's dying alone on a hill. Anybody who thinks that this virus is driven by panic and fear is an asshole. Okay? Since when do Americans run and hide in their friggin' houses instead of taking this head on and finding solutions, he said. You find solutions in how we continue to live our lives, protect the people you need to be protected. Well, that's okay if you live your life as long as you're not putting anybody at risk. See, he oftentimes looks to just himself, not even considering the fact. The people that ignore that you can go extended time without being showing that you're sick, if at all, and getting people sick is all I need to know. And that's all anybody should need to know about this. If you're a high-risk person, this thing's going to get you. What's next? Flu season? It's going to come back like the flu. If this thing's going to get you, it's going to get you. I've had a great run. If the coronavirus is what's going to get me, I'm ready. Bring it. I'm ready, Corona. Come get me. What a meathead idiot. God, just reading that makes me embarrassed for him. And this guy's worth multi-millions, maybe even $1 billion. That makes me sad that someone this stupid can have that much fucking money. Well, this stupid twat has an idea for his next big UFC event. He's planning on doing something April 18th for UFC 249. And that would be on an undisclosed private island. Flying the fighters on private planes. He's serious. Fight Island does sound kind of cool. In my mind, I just picture them running around in loincloths, like Lord of the Flies or whatever, living in grass huts, warring with each other, but it'll be in a ring. The deal will reportedly give the UFC use of the island for 2 months. How about Mackinac? With events every week. White added that he's planning to eventually move. Well, now, this is adapt and survive. If you were able to pull this off, except for the fact that the fighters are actually fighting, what if they're sick? I mean, doesn't that... I don't know. I don't know if this is a good idea at all. Maybe in your brain, but I don't think it can actually happen, right? It says here he's planning to eventually move the infrastructure to host events with international fighters in order to avoid another Habib situation. I'm not sure what that means. I don't follow MMA. No fans will be in attendance at Fight Island, And White said that every person involved, fighters, trainers, referees, production staff, will be thoroughly screened before and after the events. Well, I'll tell you this. If they all take coronavirus tests and they all pass and every person going in has a test and they are deemed clean and everything is secure, maybe. Now, that is actually adapt and survive. As much as I think his attitude is shit, White, if he can pull that off when he says thoroughly screened, it better mean an actual test for coronavirus. If it's the stupid deal where they hold a damn thermometer up to somebody's head and said, well, you don't have a temperature, you can fight. That's not going to work. I don't know if this is going to work anyway. As of April 18, the UFC is back up and running, White said to TMZ. I kind of want to hear what this guy says. But I'd have to open it up. Hang on. Give me a second here. We got time. We got nothing but time. I'll take this time to tell you that, as always, you can reach out to me, Eric at EricZaneShow.com. See if anybody took me up on that. Has any comments about anything at all that I'm saying? You can always reach out. And then don't forget, we've got Dear Meathead tomorrow. If you are just getting into the podcast, I want you to send a question for Dad. Keep it simple. The less words, the better. If you could put in the subject line, Dear Meathead, that would make things a lot easier for me. Eric at EricZaneShow.com. All right. Am I going to have this for you? Let's see. Patreon, patreon.com/Eric Zane, and that is all the time I can stall. The iPad gives me limited views on things that I need to see, so I apologize for putting you through all of that. That's embarrassing. I got one more thing for you, because today is Election Day in Wisconsin. They try to keep it so that election couldn't happen. The governor said, you know what, this is screwed up here. We cannot have an election. So forget it. And the high court said, nope, you're going to do it. So now everybody in Wisconsin is going to the polls. I want to talk about that coming up in just a bit. But first of all, thanks again to Sarah Honda Granville. I've got the car dealership. How are they doing things over there? I just, earlier I talked to you about how they're doing it at Riverbend Body Shop. We're here for you. Open, limited hours. Actually, that's for service. But you can buy online at Sarah Honda Granville. At least go and look at the inventory at Sarah Honda Granville. And if you're like, well, I got to buy it in person, man, when the time is right, make sure you check out their selection in person. SarahHondaGranville.com. Thanks to them for being on board with the show. You've got new cars. You've got used. You've got certified pre-owned. You've even got budget vehicles, all at Sarah Honda Granville. Online at SarahHondaGranville.com. This is Dana White.
249 going down April 18th. How did you make this happen?
Well, we've been working on this since the world fell apart. And every day when we would work on something, we'd wake up the next day and the world would change. So this has definitely been the hardest thing that I've ever tried to do, ever.
So you got Justin Gaethje to step up and fill in for Khabib, who's stuck in Russia at the moment.
All right, I'll link this up. This is way too long, way too much to talk about. It was a bad decision from the get-go and shouldn't have done it. Let it be known this was a waste of time. I apologize for trying to play the Dana White audio. All right. Okay, so there's this guy in Congress who has been a big supporter of Joe Biden. He is Congressman John Lewis. He is a civil rights icon. Now, as we all know, Joe Biden has done very well with the African-American voters. That has made him obviously very viable.
You're full of shit.
Oh, that's true.
Shush.
He is most likely going to be the Democratic nominee. But I don't know if this is the right thing in the world. are the best thing in the world right now, and that is the idea that he choose a running mate for the upcoming election based on race and gender. For me, I don't think that it's ever appropriate to choose someone or give them favor because of race or gender. As a white dude, if someone I found out wanted to hire me because I was a white dude, that would be shameful, in my opinion, and horrible. That should never come into the equation. It should always be, what does the person provide? Do they have the skills necessary for whatever job at hand? Now, some might say, well, what about people who have been on the short end of the stick and are continuously treated poorly because of their race or gender? And my opinion is, though that's terrible, two wrongs don't make a right. I don't think there should be preferential treatment for any person alive today because of their gender or their color. It's unfair from beginning to end. Now, whether things were unfair to a certain group of people, black, white, Asian, women, man, in the past, while true, doesn't mean that today I'm going to go out of my way. If I run a business and someone says, okay, yeah, you have to have a black guy working here, I'm like, well, no, I don't. But the law says you do. You have to actually do that. I think that's bullshit. John Lewis went on record saying that Joe Biden should have a black woman to be his running mate. And I hate this. First of all, I like Biden. And if I'm Biden, I'm like, wouldn't you, if you're a group of people that are saying equality, 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 why would you want to make the process less equal with no equality? I mean, that's the opposite of equality, to say you should put a person in as your running mate because they're black and a woman. That's not fair. But that's what he's saying. Congressman John Lewis said today, in fact, that former Vice President Joe Biden should pick a woman of color to be his running mate. He made the comments that he announced he's formally endorsing Biden, a shot of energy for the likely Democratic presidential nominee. Remember the days when Bernie Sanders was kicking so much ass? What the fuck happened? Primary is currently on pause due to the safety concerns from the pandemic, but that's what he's saying. I think he actually said, I think President Biden should look around. It would be good to have a woman of color. If I'm Biden, I'd say, hey, John, I love your endorsement, but I'll be damned if you're going to start to put gender and race into the second highest office in the land because that's the way it should be. It doesn't work that way. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to interview fat, skinny, tall, short, black, white, Asian, Native American, Latino, German, Russian, whoever applies for the job, dummy. And it isn't, so are you telling me that if I have all these qualified candidates, I should tell them all to fuck off because they're not a black woman? You can go eat tons of shit. It would be good to have a woman that looks like the rest of America. This guy thinks that how smart, gifted, a fighter, a warrior. Well, I agree with that. You should have a smart, gifted fighter, warrior person in that position. But I'm not going to say, I would never, ever say that a person's skin color and gender is a prerequisite for the job. Shut the hell up. Man. If that person happens to be of the right stuff, yes. If I've got 10 people and one of the people who has all of the credentials and happens to be black and a woman, well, then that's my person. All right? But don't sit there and tell me and be a proponent for equal rights and give me an unequal process for something that is none of your business. Shut up. when is somebody going to get the balls to say something like that? Because I would think that would be refreshing for any race to hear someone take a stand and in as few words as possible say, hey, I appreciate your endorsement, but if you're talking about equal rights and giving me an unequal process to put someone in here in an unequal way, that is absolutely a discrepancy and a hypocrisy, and don't hold me to that. You can keep your damn endorsement. I don't want anything to do with it. You can go fuck off for all I care. That is a bunch of bullshit. We've got the Patreon bonus podcast. We're going to get through that coming up a little bit later on. This one's done. It's in the books for yet another day. Thank you to you for being part of it. If you could, can you spread the word for me, man, at the Eric Zane Show podcast? All you got to do is what you got to do. Bleeding Heart Brian did this, and I love him for it. Bleeding Heart Brian actually posted on his social media that America's #1 podcast is the Eric Zane Show podcast. Now, I think he's crazy. It's a bunch of shit. But he believes that. If you believe that, would you please spread the word and say that exact thing on your social media? I listen to America's #1 podcast as voted by me. That's what you say. And then link it up, ericzaneshow.com. Give me any type of, I'll take anything. Any type of nice language. He's stupid, but he's awesome. He's got a great opinion. Make it yours. Whatever. I don't care. Tag me in it. Include me in the tweet or the Facebook post, whatever it may be. We'll go from there. Thank you so much, folks. Have a great day. Be safe. Stay home. Stay home. Stay home. Bye-bye. Quit pointing fingers at everybody, you bunch of fucking assholes.